There is no evidence that James Tissot and British painter Louise Romer were in love, but I found Louise so intriguing, this talented and strong woman who found success in a man's world, that I decided this was a plausible device to make her a major character in my novel, The Hammock. Louise's 1925 autobiography indicates she felt an attraction to Tissot. She calls him a charming man, very handsome. Tissot arrived in London in 1871, and Louise was a widow by 1872. He was 36, and she was 29. She had a strong enough interest in him to run off in 1873 on her older and unglamorous fiancé to spend a summer day on the River Thames sketching with Tissot. That day, Louise was supposed to sit for a portrait to Joe Jopling. Joe was a prudent match, and she was to marry him in about 6 months. But Tissot had begged a mutual friend, another male painter, to invite Louise and her pretty blonde sister Alice to join them on the river. So Louise lied to Joe and wired him that she had been called out of town on business. She writes that she should have told Joe that she was called out of town on pleasure, and she tried to convince her guilty conscience that it really was business since she was painting with colleagues. Louise says Joe found out, probably from gossip at his gentleman's club, but that didn't seem to bother her. Louise wrote poetry, and in one highly emotional poem, she writes rather transparently of a wild, thrilling passion that she gave up for a calmer, more abiding love. Louise describes Joe Jopling, who was an old bachelor of 43 when they married, as having an ugly nose, but a great gift for friendship. His best friend was the celebrated British painter John Everett Millais. Millais encouraged Joe's interest in Louise, even though Joe claimed to dislike brunettes, lady artists, and widows. Louise, who was 12 years younger, finagled the proposal, actually. By marrying Joe Jopling, who was kind and devoted to her, she was vaulted into Millais' circle. And though her husband's watercolors and his various low-level administrative jobs did not buy her the Chelsea studio she craved, his pension and her own hard work did. After 5 years of marriage, she worked with the architect, the renowned William Burgess, to design his and her studios for her and Joe in separate wings of their new home. She writes in her autobiography, "It was a great delight when my new studio was finished and I was able to work in it all alone in my glory, as Joe's studio was on the other side of the house."